SPX.com's Daily Brief. The answer to your question is learn the goddamn process, trade your trading plans, don't take too much risk on any one trade, and just let yourself get rich.
All right, hello everybody. No camera today. Just too many things happened this morning, especially with the internet going down. So a bit delayed with the show today, and I apologize to that. I don't know if anybody's even going to be here to watch it. I think it's like 1 a.m. on the East Coast. But you guys can watch it when you wake up. Information will still be relevant most of the time. I'm just going to jump right into it. Not going to be too long today, maybe 25 minutes or so. We're just going to go through a couple of the majors, and then I'm going to call it. Obviously, first thing we start with is Bitcoin or S&P on the weekly chart. We can see on a weekly chart we're still trending higher. Nothing here to derail this. On the way to my final target at 6,640. That's been the target for basically since back here almost, like May. And if you're a Discord member, you've seen my posts about that. So weekly still trending higher. The daily on the RSI, we were in a slight downtrend, but we broke out. So this is a break to the upside, and we had that break and that move. So if you were long from here and moved higher, then you made some nice profits. We hit the midpoint. See how well these parallel channels work? We hit the midpoint of that parallel channel, rejected. Now we've got to have a little bit of turbulence before heading higher again. So we've got a 7 that's come in. We'll probably get some pullback into expiry tomorrow. We can look at options expiry here. Let me see, OPEX. Max pain. See what that is for tomorrow. So max pain looks like it shouldn't go over 650 and it shouldn't go under 640. If we go here, yep, we're at 650 and we're just pushing down. So we've got room all the way down to here. Oh, you've got this big area here for price to go between 6,400 to 6,500. That's kind of your area, with 6,440, 6,450 being the max pain zone. So that would be like right around here. So maybe they move it to there until tomorrow, and that's just a slight retrace, and then we continue higher. We're just going to continue to this target. I'm not going to micro analyze it, because by the time a lot of you watch this information will be expired. My advice has been the same for weeks. Just stay long, don't short. We're on the way to this target. Everybody's questioning this rally because obviously RSI is breaking down. Indicators are showing divergence. But as long as M2 money supply keeps pushing higher, I don't see any kind of reason to be short here. So that's global M2 money supply, right? So I always show this. Gotta bring in the other pin to scale, pin to new right scale, right? Just like that. And you can see how we've been diverging a bit from this. See that M2 is continuing higher, but we're diverging. This is to, in my opinion, shake people out. Take out this liquidity down here before we rocket up higher to catch up. That's what happens normally, and we've seen that before with other parts of M2, where you've had M2 kind of move up a bit faster, and then Bitcoin kind of catches up and even exceeds it at some point. And the same thing with S&P is a little bit more in line. While Bitcoin, I think they're just playing games here to just try to wash people out. All right, so that's kind of it on the S&P. We can look at the NASDAQ. It's pretty similar. You can see how the NASDAQ is really putting in quite a bit of a divergence here, and we could probably look at the correlation with Bitcoin, right? So you see on this daily, they're not exactly similar, but you can see the general trend with the new highs, divergent highs. Very similar on the two here. I usually look at, where's my chart that has a bunch of information? Yeah, so here's my US 100 chart I like to use. Final target's up here at 25,000. So a little bit of a ways to go still, again. This isn't finished. I want to actually draw a parallel channel here. But I don't want to stay too long on this. I want to just jump into crypto. I know that's what you guys care about the most. So I don't want to waste too much time here trying to be nice and succinct and to the point. But you could use this as kind of your general parallel channel. And we should reach this at the latest by mid-October, at the earliest by beginning of October, end of September. That's kind of what this is pointing to. Bitcoin should follow along. Weekly chart's still bullish. Yeah, it's starting to roll over, but you're still in this bull zone. So it's not over yet. Right here, you can see on the 12-hour we did break higher. So we're going to have a bit of a retrace in the options expiry, which means on Bitcoin you get a bit of a retrace. I'm actually disappointed that Bitcoin didn't break out here from this downtrend. I thought it would, and I am bummed that it didn't, quite the fake out that they did. But now it makes sense looking at the options expiry tomorrow and the correlation for crypto. It makes sense that Bitcoin's pulling back. But that means that, you know, you could go all the way down here, and we do this through the weekend, and then on Monday or Tuesday we finally like push higher with the rest of the market. I wouldn't even look at Bitcoin through the weekend unless you want to get like a low tag. Maybe it tags the lows and you can get into a long. You could kind of look for that. So let's say that you're not long Bitcoin right now, or you want to get long, because the analysis is that we will head higher, right? That's not debatable. I want to get rid of this to make it clearer for you, but I want to keep it all at the same time. I'm going to delete it. Then we're going to just use top of the range like that. And we're going to flip it like that. Okay, so where do you long here? As per usual, right down here. This would be your zone, which lines up with the midpoint of our downtrending channel, plus taking out all the liquidity except right here. They'll take out everyone except whoever was able to get long in that one spike down. How much time did you have to get long there? You had a grand total. You had less than 5 minutes. Like this move here was probably like a minute. So everyone else gets stopped out. If they move their stops to break even, everyone gets stopped out except like people who longed right here for 2 minutes. If they didn't take profits, right? If you didn't take profits. So this is the zone I would look to get long. I think you could even long here a bit, right down here. They could take out the liquidity. So you could long here, here, and here, and then that's your long, and you hold that to head higher. If you really want to sniper this, you get long here, and you set your stop at the lows, maybe even a little bit lower. So you could long like 109,000, and you stop at like 108.5, 107.5. That would make sense to me. That would be the only scenario where I'd feel good about getting long. And I don't really believe in looking at these liquidity indicators. I don't think they work that well, but we can kind of look at it a bit, and you can see liquidations down to 110K on the day chart. And if we go to a 7-day, it's down to like 108.5. But there's so much here on the upside. I think that's because people actually shorted. So a bunch of people shorted, and we're going to go down here first because this might be smart money who set their stops up here. I don't like to use the liquidation levels that much. To me, it doesn't seem like it works as well as it's promoted to work. I've seen where it's failed many times. And then you can look, like all these different time frames have different liquidate. Like for here on this, it's like, okay, let's go down to 107. And then we go to a 24 hour and it's like, oh, actually we have to go up here to 114. And then we go to a 48 and it's like, oh, yeah, 114 still, but maybe 109. And then we go to, like, you just keep changing the time frame, and where you could potentially go continually changes. I mean, maybe there's a better way to understand this, and I'm just not smart enough or well educated enough in how to read this. But in my opinion, this isn't that helpful, and it can cause you more harm than I was using it a lot before, and I just found that it wasn't that accurate. So not something I recommend. This is something cool. Bull market peak signals. We've shown a lot on the site. Still, nothing has triggered for peak signals. That's another reason why I continue to just look at the long side. So yeah, that's it for Bitcoin. Definitely could see something like this, and then we just head higher, and that's kind of the move. I don't see it going much lower than that at all, especially with M2 looking the way it is. That's Bitcoin. Ethereum, kind of similar. It's holding. This is in no man's zone. So when I see a daily chart in this area, it's like the weekly is still heading higher, but we do have a 9 that's come in. So that's concerning with relation to Ethereum. I'm not going to be really touching Ethereum as much. I think that there are better coins to look at now. I think most of the Ethereum move already happened. I'm not saying it can't go higher, but coins that I've talked about last week and the week before, go back and watch those shows. Those are the coins to look into that are going to really move. Like ENA, I talked about ENA a lot. I think ENA is great. Still kind of following the plan, putting in a bit of a bull flag here, and it should break higher and take us to like at least $1, $1.20, $1.30 eventually. You can see it's putting in a bullish divergence. So I'm fully long in that. ILV, I like ILV. It doesn't look that great here, but on a weekly chart, it broke out. So we're just waiting for that big move on the weekly chart to pump this. So that's one I like. IMX as well. It's another gaming. On a weekly, it's broken out, right? There's your weekly breakout. And we just got to wait for that push higher. We could even, if we can just get back even November levels, you're at $2. It's a 4x. I can show you here. Yeah, so this actually points to like 250. That would be great. Big move. All right, so you long here, stop here. Target's up here. Boom, 6-to-1 risk reward rate. Oh, actually, I can move this up. 7.5-to-1, 350% return. Not bad. Apparently, it's not connected. I'm not connected to the chat. Wait a second. Hopefully, I'm still live streaming. Okay, now I see you guys. Hi, Quinn. Hi, Gills. Hi, Archery. I'm glad you. Surprised you guys are awake. D-Dare from the Philippines. All right, nice to see you. We're kind of neighbors. So that's my viewpoint. BTCD has completely broken down, right? But you do have an 8 that's coming in. So what I could see happening is you get some kind of bounce up here like this, and then you get the full rollover. Because you already had this big move. That was the Ethereum move. And I think that move's basically over. So you're going to get, maybe a resurgence of Bitcoin, and then you get the big drop, and that's going to be when the altcoins all kind of move. So that's kind of what I'm seeing. I had an original 10-week euphoria signal that should have hit by now, and we should have went crazy, but something happened where everything just broke down, and that completely, this breakdown here completely delayed everything. So this is actually a major breakdown. Maybe they decided they need to get more liquidity. People are too bullish. So they broke things down and we're delayed a bit. So we are delayed. You have more time, which I guess is good if you're stacking and want to buy more. Another one that I like is Link, which I've been talking about a lot. However, again, it's got an 8 on the weekly chart. I don't like that. Last time that came in, things rolled over. It's generally been pretty accurate with providing short-term top signals. So that's a bit of my concern, and you can see on a daily chart we're trending down. I'm not really too happy about that. Let's see if we can go lower. On the 4 hour, we almost broke out, but it doesn't look great on these higher time frames for certain names like Link. We can look at the others chart. It was one of my favorites though. Others is still trending higher, kind of sitting in this consolidation zone. And daily, this is no man's land. Like if you're trying to trade this, you're just going to get washed out. So people, what probably happened is people made a bunch of money here, and now it's just taking back all that money. We've been doing nothing for about a month and a half now. Something should we should see some movement in October. It's going to happen very quickly. We should see something, but I think for now you're going to get this pullback in Bitcoin down to this area, and you really got to wait for that to happen, play out, and then Bitcoin to push higher, and then everything else should follow. I'm long, basically 100% long, as I've mentioned before. I thought Jackson Hole would provide the boost we needed, and I was very disappointed. Like, right, this was last week, Jackson Hole. I was going super long here, and we got that huge boost, especially in altcoins. Like, this doesn't even do it justice. And then the whole weekend faded it. That was a big disappointment to me. I wanted to see this breakout, and because that didn't happen, outlook has changed to not as bullish. And if we can't bounce from here and move up and put in that W, then I have to change my entire thesis on the Bitcoin bull theory and M2 money supply and everything related to that. So that's kind of my disclaimer. Like, this is what I'm basing things on. This is what it looks like to me. The market wants to turn people bearish. And in fact, it does look bearish in some ways, but in Bitcoin, you're ahead of the altcoin. So you see how the 8 came in on the weekly here, and then we rolled over. Well, we only need 2 or 3, 4 weeks of time for this to reset, and then price can move higher. Bitcoin's done this multiple times where it's pulled back, had people turn bearish, and then run higher within 2 weeks. So that's kind of, again, what's happening here, I think. And it happened here. It happened here. You can see how just continually since 2023, it's rallied, spent 2 to 3 months consolidating, took out the lows, and then massively pumped, did it again, massively pumped, did it again here, massively pumped, did it again here, and then it should pump. Eventually, this will stop working. But for now, it seems like that's kind of the playbook to follow. And that's what I'm doing here. Let's go back down to a daily chart. That's what I'm looking at. I don't know what else I can say. I mean, we can look at the dollar. I mean, the dollar plays a role, right? So DXY, how does that look? It's still sitting at the lows, hit an 8 and 9 on the weekly. So just sitting down here, consolidating. We'll see if we get any kind of pump with the dollar. I don't know if anything's going to happen there. It's sitting here in no man's land. A lot of people are asking me about gold or silver. Sorry, silver. So yeah, silver hit a 9 on the weekly chart, and it's kind of just sitting up here. It did break out. On a 2-week chart, looks very bullish. My final target is up here at 48. So we're still on our way to that final target here. I can even put together this. I can even do this little parallel channel, right like that. And that's basically the path, which kind of provides a bit of a, I'm not saying parallel channels are 100% accurate, but it helps to provide a little bit of a timeline. So like the earliest we could hit this 48 is June 2026, and the latest is like May 2027. That kind of gives you your range. And unless we break out, you're capped at like $41 or so. You can see how it's tagged at these levels a couple times on the way up, and provide rejection points at the middle. So it provides a good kind of areas, rising price zones to consider taking profits and buying and selling. That's why I kind of like to draw these parallel channels. Now I understand we had this breakdown here, and I could lower the line, but it would throw everything off. Although we can try. Wait a second. Let's see. Let me see, how does this adjust things? This might actually be better, more accurate. So yeah, I actually prefer this. Well, if this is the case, then we're at the top end of the range here, and the earliest you can hit this is 2027. So you've got like 2 years to go. You want to wait until you're kind of down here to buy. This is actually where you'd want to be selling some silver. So okay, that was for Terry. Terry asked me to look into silver, so I did. There you go, Terry. Hopefully you watch this. That's kind of all I have, guys. If you're looking to get long, I would wait again until we retrace. Yeah, there's not really much more to say. I said that this would be a short show. I don't really have any updates. We have to wait for Bitcoin to break out and push higher before anything else really moves too much. I was disappointed with this rejection that happened last week and the retrace. Although this was a nice entry down here, but it looks like they want to get more liquidity and keep hunting this and flush as many people as possible out before pushing price higher. So you're kind of stuck until then. UNH I'm still long and bullish on. So that's one I've been pushing a lot. You can see on the weekly crossed over bullishly. And we're up here on the daily consolidating. So we should consolidate and then push higher. We hit a 9. So if you could look for a gap fill here. If it fills the gap, you could get long. So you're not too late on that. Tesla, daily chart is just sitting here. We're still in this uptrend. We broke out from this uptrend like this. And this should be push. This should push us higher. Weekly's breaking out with a nice push higher. So as long as price doesn't retrace too much, you could have a nice move higher. But they're certainly not making this easy, where I would have liked to have just seen it push all the way up to 375 before this Friday. And you can see how it's kind of still consolidating. They're not making this easy at all. It's all just back and forth, liquidity hunting. Okay, I'm gonna call it there. Short show this week, but I just wanted to update you guys a little bit. I will, of course, be posting in my room with the summary of the show. If you're not currently a TRI member, consider joining. You'll get access to these summaries along with access to the amazing TRI community and posts from a lot of our veteran members who, again, I appreciate being members and all the content you guys contribute. Yeah, hopefully you guys have a great weekend, and I will see you on the site.